I've become quite the fan of Chris Webby's music over the past year or so. Since discovering his work in March of 2024, he quickly became one of my favorite artists I discovered within that year. There's a lot of artists that I discovered that I feel sad that just don't get a lot of recognition, Webby being one of them. That being said, Chris Webby's Last Wednesday album might just be my favorite out of the Wednesday saga, so I figured I'd run down my thoughts on the record. First off, the tracklist is, in my own wording, effing nuts. I do think I'll need some time for some of the newer tracks that grow on me. The tracks like Last Wednesday Intro, Tale of Two Kings, and Razor's Edge became favorites practically on the first listen. The returning tracks are great too. Like I said earlier, many have become favorites that I come back to frequently. However, one track I don't find myself going back to anytime soon is Back on My BS. I respect Chris's opinion on the state of the world, but it's just a hard song to get through. One track that's not on the album whose omission confused me though is Bombs Away. Webby specifically brings up Last Wednesday at the end of the track, so it makes sense to put it on the record, but I guess not. Moving on, Chris's wordplay shines through on this album as with all other Wednesday records. His ability to keep multi-syllabic rhyme schemes throughout numerous stanzas and verses baffles and impresses me at the same time. The features on this album are great too, with the standouts for me being Ran on Baggage and Tech 9 and A Tale of Two Kings, both of which I honestly wouldn't have really expected on a Webby album. Lastly, the beat work on this album is some of my favorite out of any Wednesday album. Webby is able to ride each beat so effortlessly, and the different types of beats on this album in general are just crazy. I do think some of the beats feel a bit similar in tempo though, like with a bit of tweaking I could probably line up Last Wednesday Intro's vocals over Thunder or the opposite, but that's more of a nitpick I think. Some of my favorite beats on the album are the aforementioned Last Wednesday Intro, Thunder, as well as FSU, Moosehead, Kratos, Gladiator Pit, Fire in My Blood, and Razor's Edge, to name more than a few. Overall, this is probably easily going to cement itself as my favorite Wednesday album. There's no tracks that feel too similar, the beats keep me reeled in, and I find myself going back to almost all of the tracks very often. As of the writing of the script, 3/4 of the tracks on the record are added to my playlists. While I wasn't there for the whole run of the Wednesday series, I'm at least glad I got to see it through to the end, and it's easily one of my favorite albums I listened to in 2024, plus one of my favorite albums of the year.